Good day out there. Hope your Tuesday's going well wherever you are listening or watching the program from. Thanks for making some time. Brought to you by Saskatchewan Lotteries. Like he said, Colson is with me in the chair riding shotgun. Co-host today will be Harry up in Saskatoon. But like I said, you could be watching it on our YouTube feed at sportscage.com or on YouTube. Could be listening on any of the apps and crystal clear audio or the old-fashioned stick. 620 CKRM. 3 hours for you today. What do we got? We got to talk Canadian hockey, don't we? I want to hear from you because it's January and February. Like, there's not a lot going on. You know, like there's hockey, there's curling in Melville. We'll cover that. Riders. There is some news out of Rider Camp today, but I think everybody's wrapped up in the World Juniors and Hockey Canada and Team Canada and what they did, and I don't know. I want to hear from the masses. SportsCage texters, listeners, usually pretty good. So you can get in on it. Prairie Land Rentals text line throughout the whole show, 936-6262. We are going to hear from the father of Darcy Kuemper. Darcy Kuemper has been named to Canadians Olympic team. He's from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. His father, Brent, will hop on here in about 10, 15 minutes time. We will hear from some of the players that were on the World Juniors, and we'll get into that and get your comments on that. Arash Madani in hour 2, little clutch performer in hour 2. Hour 3, Glen Suitor comes in. Also today at some point, we're playing Pump Jacks Cathedral Trivia for $100 at Pump Jacks Cathedral. We're going to give you the question. We're going to ask for a caller. I think it'll be curling related today, Colson. We're going curling question, province-wide related. We'll have sprinkle of the day too. I started looking at the NFL odds for this weekend, wild card weekend. We're going to break that down with Arash. Like I said, Harry is with me today, joining me. He's up in Saskatoon. Good day. Happy New Year. Larry David said, was it Sunday that we weren't allowed to do it anymore? I'm doing it anyway.
I said it to somebody yesterday, and I thought that in my head. I'm like, at what point do I have to stop saying Happy New Year to people?
Part of me, and my wife doesn't usually listen until she's out of school at 4, so I kind of just want to be the annoying guy. I'm going to stretch it into like February break, go on that. But yeah, it is a new year. The weather is broke. It's not that bad out. Okay, Canada wins bronze. Junior hockey players, 17, 18, pushing 19-year-olds. They win bronze. I'm actually quite impressed that they won because it's like the high of playing for gold and we need to bring gold home in Canada, and then it is just rock bottom and you got to basically put your gear on. It's still wet. It's like playing in that old rec tournament. And you got to go back out there and play Finland in the bronze medal game. But to the point, I think it was Mike Johnson maybe that mentioned it. It's like if you don't win it. Like in 10, 20 years, you're going to run into guys that were on that team and go, man, we walked away with nothing.
Yeah, like he said, I think he said it during the broadcast too. Like, it may not feel like a big deal now, but if you lose, it'll feel like a much bigger deal down the road. And it's funny, I'll preface this by saying I feel like this could go 1,000 different directions today because I've got a lot of opinions and a lot of thoughts on this whole Canada thing. But yes, for them getting up for a bronze medal game, it'll probably be arguably one of the toughest games they'll have to get up for in their career because the highest of highs to the lowest of lows, and to summon the competitive spirit to come out and play a team that was neck and neck with you in the round robin. So, it's not going to be a cakewalk. So full credit to them for getting the bronze. And it is a huge deal. And years from now, they'll be glad that they won it rather than lose it.
Can we maybe start with, I'm just going to pull up some of the tweets that I saw. Again, 936-6262 if you have comments on it. But people, not that we need the referendum and we gotta, what's wrong with Canadian hockey, but first off, it's people going, well, look how many NHLers could have been there. Okay, we always say that. It's not happening. We do have a lot of good hockey players, for sure. And some of them are playing in the NHL. It was Celebrini, as if he was coming back ever. Seneca, Catton from Saskatoon, who I think they were holding out hope till the last minute. Kindle, Matthew Schaefer, but the start he's had in the NHL, you got a better chance of seeing him in the Olympics than the World Juniors. And Sam Dickinson, just a few of the names. Now, I don't know what the other countries have for youngsters that weren't loaned, didn't get to come back and play. Doesn't matter. You send a team, all these other, and Al Miller 2 weeks ago on the show, he said, it is a tough tournament to win. Everybody is so good now. And it is. And you and I were joking. You weren't on the show, but you and I always go back to the 91 World Juniors because they were in Saskatoon. You were in grade 9. I was in grade 8. It was a big deal, but that wasn't good to watch. No. Canada and against Paulie Yaks from Switzerland in net and putting 60 shots on them. And I think you were the one that mentioned, and I said it on the show, that the rumor was Norway that got shellacked. They were trading hockey. They didn't even have enough sticks. We don't want to go back to where we just abuse everybody and it's really a 2-horse race. Now the competitiveness is there. And can we remember too that maybe one of the best hockey countries in the world is not playing at this thing and hasn't been for a few years, which would add another wrinkle.
I mean, of 100%. I mean, that's a whole other ball game. But I would argue, without getting myself into any type of trouble, maybe one of the reasons that the women's game had such a hard time getting a foothold within the public consciousness is because for 10, 15, 20 years, it was Canada, US, and Sweden, and that's it. And they were beating teams 16-0. They were decimating Japan. They were decimating every country that stepped up. And so, of course, people are going to be like, well, eventually there's going to be Canada and US in the final anyway. So everything else nobody cared about. And I don't think we want to go that way with the men's game. Why not have it be competitive? Why not have everybody be on equal footing? God, we've been having this discussion for over 20 years that the game has changed. The rest of the country, or the rest of the world rather, has caught up to Canada. It's a fact. Just even from the standpoint of the bodies in the NHL, it used to be 85% Canadian. Now it's what, 55%? That's just the reality. The game is smaller because the world has gotten smaller, and that's no fault of Canada. I take it as a compliment.
Yeah, and there was another message out there I saw on social media where they went through how the numbers are down for hockey in Canada and then pointing the finger at that. It's well, no, you know what? Have you the economy? It's the haves and have-nots when it comes to sport, and not just hockey. Let's not point the finger at hockey. I know people in dance, in gymnastics, in skiing, football now.
Cheerleading.
Cheer. Greg's here on Thursday. That's expensive. And basketball. And it's all these made for profit little academies or gyms or groups or whatever. I've been sucked into it. I'm not pot calling the kettle black. I'm going to get sucked into it again this spring with my daughter. And it's just kind of well, I guess, whatever.
It's not getting sucked into it though when that's the standard. You have to do those things or your kids will be left on the sideline. That's the new norm. That's not the outliers anymore. So it's not a matter of getting sucked in. You're just trying to keep your kids being competitive, and that's the reality of the situation. I mean, this could go 1,000 different directions. I think one of the biggest things I have issue with is is our psyche and our ego so fragile as a country that we identify and we hang our whole hopes and beliefs and self-esteem on the outcome of a hockey tournament played by 18-year-old kids? Like, it just seems ludicrous. Whatever happened to just the spirit of competition? And these kids are going out there, they're representing their country, there's pride involved. Like, win, lose, show, like what message are we sending kids when it's like gold or nothing? Like, it just seems like such a short-sighted way. And Zane Parekh, I think we'll touch on it at one point, he got in trouble for his comments that he made on New Year's Eve, and he had to walk it back. And God, I hate walking back people when they walk back things more than almost anything that I hate in media. He's an 18-year-old kid. So what? He said something. Maybe he didn't think it through the best he could have, but it's comments, it's honest reaction. And one of the things that I love that he said is that he's like, I'm having the time of my life here. I don't want to leave. These guys are my family here. Like, I wish this would never end. That's what you want these kids going there, not feeling the pressure where if I make a mistake, I'm going to cost myself a draft position or I'm going to not get a contract. Like, that's ridiculous. These kids are 18 years old.
And it's too bad. Like, we got Eric coming on tomorrow. Eric Francis, not today, tied to the Flames. The walking back thing, it's almost so obvious. Do we want to play it right now? We can play it throughout the show. Sure. Let's play the Zane Parekh pre-tournament or day one of the tournament.
New Year's Eve.
Here's his comments. And if you don't know who Zane Parekh is, he's like he was the best or one of the best players on the team. Defenseman, Calgary Flames. He's kind of playing with the Flames this year. Might go back to junior, but he's joining the Flames for the road trip. Here's what keep in mind, he's an 18-year-old kid. And when I was 8, I tell my wife and kids this all the time. I'm like, my kids are so much more mature than I was at 14 and 12, hands down. So I don't know if that's my wife more, if it's the group they run with. I think kids, specifically the hockey community, they're better kids than when I was that age. It could be just me. I find they're not as cocky. They're very accepting of each other. Where I think back in our day, and let's call it what it is, it was like you would kind of tease someone and the bullying thing, if you want to use that word. But we were jerks. Like, I think, and man, I had the name Barney. I passed for 18 different nationalities. Like, as if, like, you want the stuff that I heard and went through, like, but nowadays the kids are just better. So Zane, he's 18 years old or whatever he is, 19.
Turns 20 in a month.
This is what he says. Is this that bad?
To show your personality, was it by watching other athletes doing the same thing? Or?
I think it's more watching NHL guys be robots and not having any personality. So, I think you need some personality, and it's kind of the best way to grow the game. And, I don't want to come in here and be a robot. I mean, when I'm in Calgary, I definitely have a lot of guys that are telling me to give really simple answers, but here I could kind of do what I want.
Thanks for not listening to that.
Yeah, thanks for that. We appreciate it.
Okay, first off, on that, you and I have been in a lot of media scrums back in our day. The worst thing is the laughing reporter guy and the fake laughing reporter guy. Shut up. Let him talk. Double down. You're a double down guy too.
100%.
I'm like, Zane, come back and just double down on it. I would like to know, after I want to talk to Eric, who in the Flames would have said something, and what would they maybe have said?
I have a feeling it would more come from an agent rather than to keep up appearances and not cause any bad blood or just smooth things over. Even just a preventative measure, even if there was nobody that said anything, it's just like, let's just err on the side of caution and just cover this up just before it blows out of proportion, because that when he gets back to Calgary, the first thing that they're going to ask him is, hey, I heard you said that you can't say what you want around here. Like, that's how the media works, right? You and I both know that. It drives me crazy. He didn't say anything wrong. I know there's a fine line between being a little too laissez-faire, but we always say we want these athletes to have personalities. It's why they do these documentaries. It's why they do Full Swing. That's why they do F1 Drive to Survive. It's trying to put a human face on these guys. And then when they do it, we crap all over them and be like, oh, no. Is it because he's 19? Like, I don't get it. I don't understand. What's wrong with having a personality? And we can get to it later, and not to get off topic, but I found that was one of my biggest faults with Team Canada is that they all seemed the same. If you took their numbers and jerseys off of them, put on just plain jerseys, I couldn't tell one guy from the other on the ice. I don't know who's O'Reilly. I don't know who's Martone. I don't know who's Martin, just because they're all like made in a lab together.
Here's Zane Perek walking it back.
Boo.
Like the other day when you talked about who you are in front of the media, what'd you learn about that, and did you hear from the team about those comments?
Nothing yet. I mean, I think some things got spun out of proportion, and my words probably worded things wrongly, but obviously it wasn't my intent and the words I said, and I sincerely apologize to the Flames organization and my teammates. At the end of the day, that's not acceptable, and that can't happen.
Oh, it is acceptable. It can happen. Don't worry about it, bro.
It's like two completely different people. The first interview, he's smiling, he's joking, he's casual, he's just speaking from his heart. And the second one, he feels like he's like a beaten dog. He's like a little puppy. He's like, this can't happen. It's unacceptable. 19-year-old kids don't talk like that. They don't say at the end of the day, this is unacceptable. And like, it's such programming and it's such BS. And it's just unfortunate that here's another guy that is trying to make himself stand out a little bit based on his personality. And he gets scolded for it or reprimanded and made to feel like he is not. That's bullying in my mind. If you want to talk about like, let the kid be who he wants to be. He's not hurting anybody.
Jeff on the YouTube chat, he says this guest said it. His name's Harry. We're hoping to have him more here in 2026. He said it. And I agree. We are so insecure as a nation. And if you don't think we are, and it goes back to what I talked about last week, where the attendance is such a big deal, and we need to prop ourselves up because there's 50,000 people in queue for Edmonton and Red Deer to watch junior hockey next winter. Yay. Yeah. Okay, good. Good for us. God forbid somebody else do something as good or better than we do as a collective nation, because then it's big, well, we got to step up our game. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, Alexander was just named Sports Illustrated Sportsman of the Year. First Canadian to have it solo since Wayne Gretzky. And yet, do you hear anything about it? Does anybody talk about it? No. It's just like, no, it's not. It's a bronze medal at the World Junior Tournament. Who cares? Like, I just feel like sometimes our priorities are so out of whack in how we identify with what we should be proud of in this country, and this is a perfect example of that. Here's a question. Just thought of this. Get your thoughts on it, Colson. Yours maybe as well. What would be a bigger, storm in a country? How basketball has kind of slipped away from the USA. When you look at some of the top basketball players, maybe the top basketball players in the world now, the Joker, Giannis, Shea Gilgeous from Canada. Who else is out there? Colson, you're a basketball guy.
Joel Embiid technically splits.
Wembanyama.
Yep.
Gobert.
Yeah,
I'm looking all these up. I don't have these on the top of my head. I'm more of a double dribble guy and Saskatoon Storm for life. But yeah, but you think about it, and think about the diehard basketball USA basketball fans, and they would have trouble with where basketball has gone in the last 10, 15 years.
Yeah, the last 6 MVPs, and you listed most of them, have all been non-American in the 6-7 MVPs in the NBA. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Jokic, Embiid, Jokic, and then Giannis.
You go back to Dirk Nowitzki.
Yeah.
Tony Parker, who I totally forget was from France. Steve Nash was Canadian. Yao Ming, Ginobili, Olajuwon. Nah, that's more my time. But, okay, so what, are we worse? Are we harder on hockey in Canada, do you think, than what the Americans would be on basketball, slipping away, or everybody else becoming great at basketball as well?
I would say that we are collectively as a nation way more hand-wringy over how hockey is perceived or how we do on the stage than Americans care about basketball.
Yeah, I would agree with that because, like, again, everyone says hockey's our thing, whereas Americans can go, we lost to Japan in baseball this year, but we'll be back next year, right? They've got other sports, other things that they are interested in that they can kind of validate themselves in, right? So,
I mean, their national pastime, quote unquote, is baseball. And is there a more international game on the planet than Major League Baseball? I mean, not international, but at least not
soccer.
Not North American.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got South America, you've got Latin America, you've got Asia, those countries, and Canada. But they're not talking about the death of American baseball on any sports show that I've ever seen in the history of my life. Right? It's just the way it is. It's just the rest of the world. The world has gotten smaller. Why wouldn't you want the best possible product? Jays just signed another Japanese player. Like, it's just the reality of it. The world is so much smaller, and it's easier to get these players in. It would be stupid to be like, no, we only want American baseball players. Like, no.
Here's another part of the debate. And let us know. 936-6262. YouTube chat's open as well. It's for Prairie Land Rentals, 600 Albert Street. You get to deal with the owner, anything you need for renting. No name on this, but here's another thing to mull over here, boys. Hockey Canada should drop the import draft. Too many players coming to play in the CHL, like Czechia had 17 of 25 players playing in the CHL. I don't agree with that.
If they can play, why wouldn't they play?
There's an import rule.
If they can make the team, they're still going to try out. It's
not like you can have 10 on your team. No. There's an import rule.
We talked to Curtis Hunt yesterday, and he said that's the most calls he's gotten in a long time because Czechia's goalie wearing the PA Raiders helmet at the World Juniors, right? We want that publicity.
It's the first thing my 12-year-old daughter saw in that opening game to Czechia. She's like, he's wearing a Prince Albert Raiders. I'm like, well, he must play there. I didn't know. We had to look it up on Google.
Me too. Same thing. I saw the PA mask. I was like, oh, wow, he plays with PA. Great.
Exactly. Yeah, that's great for the CHL. So you don't want that anymore? Just showing that every player in the World Juniors pretty much is coming from the CHL?
Well, I love the Latvians, where it's like kids are playing in Green Bay and they're playing in the USHL and they're playing it, and I think there's other countries too. And I'm like, come over and play. Now, import rule, just like when we go there and play, or when I played in the States, there was an import rule. You only could have 2 or 3, whatever it was. That makes sense. Yeah, you can't have a full team of, kids from Czechia, Russia. Like what? I want to see those guys back in the game.
How can you get angry? How can you get angry at the fact that a country that is 33 times smaller than Canada took them to overtime in a hockey game one year and beat them the year before? How is that anything to get mad about? It is amazing. That's a fantastic story. It's like Cool Runnings or whatever you want to have it. It's the rags to riches amazing story. And how far that program has come in the last 20 years. From sharing equipment and not having enough sticks to finish the tournament to beating Canada. Like, I don't know how anybody could.
They got a gold medal this year at a world championship. See?
Yeah. American bobsled team.
Exactly.
Yeah. For sure.
Right?
Scott in Saskatoon. Absolute beauty. 1991, the Czechs were sharing Volstock sticks and Peter Klima Jofa buckets on the bench. I don't think they're sharing lids. Did I ever tell you the Jofa bucket story? How everybody here wants to play, not everybody. A lot of guys want to go and twirl in their rec league or their pickup game or they're with some sort of Jofa bucket, whether it's the Gretzky one or the Peter Klima one or all that. So when I was over in Sweden and Finland, first practice for the boys was at this rink, and then it was public skating. They just leave everything open. Skates. I walk into the one room, it is wall-to-wall Jofa. And I'm like, I can't take one of these, can I? Can I get one of these? I'm like, no, don't be a hobo. Don't. And I'm like, look how many Jofa. Can I trade? Can Roman
just leave $100 bill? Yeah, leave $100 bill.
Can I leave Roman's brand new Bauer and be like, you're wearing this for the rest of the tournament, bud. You'll get the joke when you're older. And so I didn't. Then we went to the tournament, and then there was a lost and found. There was like 3 in this lost and found, and I'm like, should I ask someone and just be like this? I'm going to donate some money to whatever here. I need to take one of these. So, and then the neck guards were like the one. It was culturally, it was just so cool. You can get in on it 936-6262. Do you have comments? Anything that we're talking about? Hockey Canada. Are we insecure as a country? Where should we go? Are you fine with it? Are you fine with everybody else getting better? And the tournament, sometimes not always in Canada. Like, who wants that? I don't. And then it's like, oh, did you see the crowd? Well, yeah, it was Germany and Norway. When the junior fastball tournament was on in Saskatoon this year, and it was 2 countries that no one's ever heard of, did you see the crowd there? Similar. Yeah, and maybe the Minnesota people didn't show up the way that they banked on the Canadians coming across, which you had a good point on that. As you thought maybe politically, some people just didn't go down to the States. Definitely.
That you'd be a fool if you didn't think that the geopolitical climate didn't play at least some sort of role in the attendance at World Juniors.
Don't be a fool. Participate in the program. 936-6262, Prairieland Rentals text line. We're going to go to break, and we come back. We're going to talk to the father of Darcy Kuemper, who is going to represent Canada at the Olympics. It's the Sports Cage, streaming through our YouTube channel at sportscage.com. All right, welcome back to the Sports Cage on this Tuesday for Saskatchewan Lotteries, the main fundraiser for sport, culture, and recreation in Saskatchewan. Harry is with me today. Colson's on the other side. Keep the text messages coming to the Prairieland Rentals text line, 936-6262, if you have comments about the World Juniors, Hockey Canada, how we should just shut it down. Hockey in Canada is over. It's people are losing their minds over us not winning a gold medal again. So keep them coming. Speaking of hockey, Harry, let's go out on the Western Pizza guest hotline. Perfect pizza, generous amount of toppings, and all the Greek favorites you love. Joining us, speaking of Canadian hockey, is the father of Darcy Kuemper, who has been named to Team Canada for the Olympics, Brent Kuemper from up in Saskatoon. Brent, thanks for making some time on this Tuesday.
Thanks for having me. We're excited about the topic.
Yeah. Okay. So let's fire right there. Let's start there. You find out Darcy has been named to the Olympic team. How does he call you? Do you hear it in social media, or how does it all go down?
He calls me. Actually, the players only heard it probably about a half an hour before it got released to the public on TV. So, he phoned right immediately after and congratulated him. He was pretty pumped.
Is that a speakerphone thing with Sharon in the room?
No, she's actually not in the room.
No, but was she when Darcy called?
Oh, sorry. Yes. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
No, she was, we were both in the kitchen. We were actually kind of just waiting, and we didn't hear anything, so we thought, oh, okay, maybe not. And good news turned out.
It's interesting, right? Because so many people, and I want to get to some things down the road here in Darcy's career and all that, but Canadian goaltending, and everybody's talking about, because we don't have maybe the Brodeur and the Patrick Waugh and the Ed Belfour that we've had, the Carey Price, Roberto Luongo, on and on. We still have really good goaltending. So as a father of one of the guys, he's won the Stanley Cup. He's been there. What do you think about Canadian goaltending right now?
Well, I think it's pretty good. I mean, I look at over the last 2 years. I mean, Darcy and Logan Thompson, they both been, in the top grouping. And same as this year, they're doing well again. But there are some exceptional goalies throughout the world, but I think we're doing okay in Canada. I can't really say something different, or Darcy would get mad at me.
Was this something that was on Darcy's radar right from the get-go, or what point of the season did it become like this is maybe a reality?
Well, last year in the Four Nations, when it got picked, he was injured that time, and so they had to have the names in, so he understood. But he always knew after that. This summer, they contacted him, and he's been doing the drug testing since summer, so he knew he was on the radar.
I think I read first time he represents Canada at an international event in hockey. Was it 2018?
Yeah, I forget the exact year. I'm just looking at, I got his jersey on the wall. I'm just looking at, and they won a gold medal there. And I remember he phoned me from there. He's just big party, so pumped. And this will be bigger.
Yeah, no doubt. When does Darcy decide to be a goalie? Going way back, what do you remember about that, Brent?
Well, he started hockey at 5, and at that age, you know how the kids, they kind of rotate around 6, 7. Every kid goes in that. He really liked it, but I'm a big proponent on you're skating. So when he was playing goalie, and not all the time, I still made sure he played out all the time. And I had him in skating lessons, different camps, as an out player. And so I used to coach him and my other son as well, but always made sure when he was about 12 years old, every second game he would play out, just to keep him going, because at that age, you always just think, hey, you're just going to be in a beer league someday and you may want to play out. And so anyhow, he kept going. I think it was about 12. It was in second year Pee Wee. The city made him, he had to make a choice, play in or out, and he chose goalie.
So a common refrain with goalies is that they're a different breed, right? And I know you fairly well, and I would classify you as being a different breed. And you've been on enough dad's trips to know, like, does it translate to the parents? Like, are the goalie parents, like, do they keep to themselves? Are you guys kind of, is that how did the kids come by it naturally, or is it something different about the kids and goalies?
I often heard different goalies, like, I won't say names, but I often heard different goalies have their own stuff. But what I've seen on, like, the dad's trips, the players have their routines as well. Sometimes worse, getting ready. But the goalies, yeah, I don't know. Like, Darcy's pretty sociable, and obviously probably gets it maybe from me. But but yeah, he's right in the mix at all times, and but.
A great line I heard during the World Juniors was, friends don't let friends' kids be goalies. Now, it obviously is a lot harder for you guys, especially when you're in the stands, because the goalie is such an isolated position. Do you find that it is way more stressful watching than maybe other parents that that their kids, they can hide a lot more?
100%. When you go to events and see it on TV, the goalie parents, well, you're the last line of defense, and there's a lot of pressure, but you got to come to a realization that puck went through 5 people before that, and sometimes they look pretty silly the way it went through them. But but it is hard on parents, and it's been that way since he started playing, like, as a little kid. It's just minor hockey. It was harder on the parents.
Brent Kuemper is joining us, father of Darcy Kuemper, here on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. Okay, I want to go back to, was Darcy, and I know you had another boy and you have a daughter, but Darcy specifically, was he that grinder? Was he that student of the game, the kid that always wanted to be playing? Maybe he's watching, maybe he's studying, or was he kind of out doing his other thing, and then when it was hockey time, it was hockey time as a kid?
Oh no, he grew up on a cul-de-sac, and the kids are always out playing street hockey. He was the young one, so you're always trying to compete with those older kids, and he was always doing his best that way. But hockey, I mean, Darcy he achieved well in school, but you get him to that rink, and I mean, his whole life used to be hockey, which, I mean, I was too. I was at the rink with him, and my other son was. But I remember one game in particular, I said he could play, but we had to leave after halfway through the game because he had the lead role in a Christmas pageant. And myself and the other coach, he refused to come off the ice. That game was so important. He wasn't coming off the ice. So it was. I always remember that incident. So it was funny.
We'll go with Christmas play, not pageant. I don't know if Darcy would want. I don't know if Darcy would want pageant. We'll go with play. No, what kind of hockey parents were you and Sharon? Like you said, Chris kind of alluded to, you maybe are the goalie dad. You're a little bit out there too. But what kind of hockey parents were you? Were you okay? Well, we gotta maybe push you a bit here, or did you kind of stay back and let things happen by osmosis?
Well, I actually was involved coaching both boys, but my one son probably had it better than I did, or than Darcy did, because he played out. And I really didn't teach Darcy goaltending because I knew nothing about it. So I used to take him to goalie clinics all the time, and right through the year. And we have some very good ones in Saskatoon.
Yeah, which one would you go to in Saskatoon, out of curiosity?
It started out Goal Tech was the first one we had by Royd and Gunn, and he had another worker with him, Tyan, and he broke off, and then Darcy would go to him as well. And then when he was playing AAA hockey, he had another goalie coach, which is nice for the summer. The team had a goalie coach, so you learn stuff from all different guys. Was he a multi-sport kid? What other sports did Darcy play? Yes, everything. Sorry, I just lost
That's
earpiece. All right. He played everything, actually, and not to boost him or anything, but he really excelled at them all. And it's kind of funny how that goes, but he played lacrosse, he played basketball, and he was kind of a big player on all the teams that he played on. So he just liked all sports in general.
What's the total of people that are booked for Italy now? What are you up to?
Oh, to go there for our family? Let's see, there's 4. There's 8. His wife is 9. 9 adults, 2 children.
That's a contingent.
Yeah, so it's tickets might be hard. So some tickets are supplied, but we have to get for the rest.
Well, I heard it's not. I was talking to Ben Hebert on the curling team, and his, the families, and they got to get over there, and also Rachel Holman's husband. It's not cheap, this Northern Italy where everybody's going.
No, it's not, and obviously the prices go up this time. It's not cheap just going anytime, but we're fortunate that Darcy's kind of helping us all out with an air.
I got to ask you one thing though, because when we were talking about it earlier, all the dad trips that you've been, how many have you been on? Which was your favorite one?
They're all fun. The only time we stopped, Darcy's been in the NHL 14 years, and 2 of them were mom's trips, including this year. So I had quite a few, but I'll give you a funny story about this. I remember talking to Jeff. I was watching his wife read their boy Braden was on St. Louis. So I was watching her on TV at a game, and I text Jeff. I said, I see Rita on TV. And we were just talking, and he said he was on 18 father
sun trips, and that was his wife's first one. So
Wow.
and obviously he's been on more since then, but
Yeah.
they're all fun. Every team, they put on a great performance for the dads, and I think management would probably like it if there was never the trips, because the boys
Really?
are out with. Yeah, well, I don't think their focus is there as much.
Oh, that's so cool. All right. Well, I heard it from the grapevine that you're quite the pickleball player, and we don't want to hold you up from your pickleball game this afternoon. So, Brent, we appreciate you coming on and shedding some light on things. Hopefully, we get Darcy here in the coming weeks as well to chat with him. But really appreciate you doing this.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks very much, and call anytime you want.
All right. Well, we might need a bed if I get a ticket to Italy. So I don't know how big the house is that Darcy helped out. Father of Canadian goaltender Darcy Kuemper, Brent Kuemper, joining us here on the Western Pizza guest hotline. Wow, that's I can't even imagine getting a call like
It's
that.
amazing.
Harry, right? And then being able to go and watch it. It's going to be pretty cool. It's a SportsCage. We're on the home of local sports in Saskatchewan. We're streaming through our YouTube channel at sportscage.com. Welcome back to the show. It's for Saskatchewan Lotteries, main fundraiser for sport, culture, and recreation in Saskatchewan. Harry's with me on this Tuesday, and Colson's got everything on the other side of the board. Just texting with Dave Thomas. Dante Myers reports that he is signed with the Cincinnati Bengals. So I was wrong. I said I didn't think this year. I thought maybe another year and see what happens. He's coming back. Nothing against Dante Myers, but Joe last year went down, had a good twirl. It's a lot. He'll be back for some seasoning with the Riders. Good to see, though. Don't know what kind of bind that puts the Riders in again, right? Now it's like, okay, hold out hope. And but now Kean Schaefer-Baker, does that deal? Glen Suitor's coming up in hour 3, and Suits will want to weigh in on this more. How quick do they maybe look? Maybe there's some free agents out there that we're not even talking about that the Riders are thinking of bringing in with CFL experience. Or Jeremy O'Day's, he's already, signed a few guys to come up for camp. There's always that diamond in the rough. There's always the guys out there running around. It's a big country, that old United States of America. And there's Canadian kids as well, obviously, that can't come. Damien Alford from the Calgary Stampeders and Jalen Hutchinson, they're gone, but Alford, that's one guy watching him play last year, and yeah, he did torch the Riders, especially that first game. Big, rangy, as they say. That one I could see. Now, does he stick? What the hell do I know?
Right. Hey, you know plenty.
Maybe the Saints too, but he had some other teams that were interested him from the sounds of things. Again, sources are reporting. Yeah, Jeff, and then Jalen Hutchins as well. Philip Daniels going to the Ottawa Redblacks from the Riders. We kind of heard that yesterday as well. D-line coach in Ottawa. Loved our conversations with Daniels. I wonder if we can still bring him on sporadically throughout the year. If he'll come on and chat ball and food and different things. So good on him. He's going to do the same gig in Ottawa. So CFL news today, even if it is January. Yesterday they had the Grey Cup in here on the seat. No trophies. No trophies for us today. Text line, though. Some people are getting in. Who is it here? Rudy figures that Canada all players should have to come and play, whether they're in the NHL or so. Macklin Celebrini, you're the best player on your team, one of the best players. Sorry, you got to go play junior hockey and possibly get injured. The bazillionaire owner of the San Jose Sharks might squash the NHLPA, everybody. But yeah, one can dream, Rudy, I guess. Wes thinks Canada needs to host every year. Totally in disagreement on that, Wesley.
Me as well. Yeah, I don't agree. I feel like you got to spread it around. And is attendance the end all be all? I mean, I think Hockey Canada, I think the IIHF is doing okay. I think their coffers are probably pretty robust. That I don't think not hosting the World Juniors in a market that's going to get 300,000 people over the week is going to break the IIHF. So I think it's okay to spread it around, even if it's not getting the attendance that they want. And it's important. Yeah. I think it's important to have other countries represented.
Oh, yeah. Like, I don't want that. Think about any other big tournament or whatever national, international championship. Same place every year.
I think it's also important for the players to experience other cultures and be other places rather than Ottawa and Vancouver and Montreal and Calgary and Edmonton. Like, send them to Helsinki and send them to Czech Republic and let them expand their horizons. It's more than just about hockey. They're learning life skills. They're trying to become better humans. Why not experience what the other side of the world looks like? It's not all about hockey. It's got to be about bigger things than just that.
Helsinki, awesome city. Weird breakfasts. Love their saunas. Love their saunas and jumping in cold water. Here was the quote that it's so small and I got old man eyes. Al Miller yesterday, post-mortem. He said, to be honest, I don't have a real good answer right now. It's been a whirlwind. I've been on the road for 35 days. We'll sit down with staff. We've got some things to look at in terms of what we are doing this summer. We made some changes around how we did our camp. We'll evaluate everything and make changes or stay status quo. Oh, you found it. There you go. It's easier for me to read on there instead of off my phone. Should have done that. Yeah.
I like the last line. We'll evaluate everything and make changes or stay status quo. It's basically saying we're going to do whatever we want to do, just like we've always done. And that's going to be that. Like, we're the decision makers.
And thank the Gord for that, because you want idiots like me or whoever making decisions.
Yeah, it's not a democracy. We're not doing a referendum on who should make the team every year. I will say, though, and again, like I said, I've given this a lot of thought since the last 24 hours. I don't think Team Canada, the players, are free of absolution for this entire thing. Yes, they won a bronze medal, but the thing that I'm having trouble wrapping my head around is my one knock against Team Canada is I felt that as a collective team, I felt, and I hate to say it because it makes me sound like an old man, but I feel like compared to years past, and I'm going to use the last 25 years as an example, so only going back to 2000, that I feel like one of the things that I notice happening with Team Canada every year is the maturity factor is less. Now, I feel like while they are more, like you said, like we talked about earlier, like, yes, they're more accepting and they're more camaraderie, etc. I feel like from a maturity standpoint, they're just not at the level that the organization used to be. If you look at the rosters, and I did, from 2000 to 2026, 26 years of Team Canada junior teams. And I know that this team they're only 18 and you don't know the future. But you can look every year and there is a handful of guys that are established leaders in the NHL. And I mean like veteran leaders and leaders that lead NHL franchises, and they all played World Juniors. I don't see that type of personality in the handful of Team Canada teams over the last numbers of years. And I know I don't see the future. I don't have a crystal ball, but I'm going to tell you right now that Gavin McKenna is not going to be a Sidney Crosby. He's not going to be a Nathan McKinnon. He's not going to be a Connor McDavid. He's just not. He's not even going to be like, I don't even want to say, like, I'm not going to say he's not going to be, but I mean, even like a Braden Shen or like those guys have gone on to be huge leaders. They're going to play 1,000 games easy in an NHL. I just don't see, because, and even at that age at 18, you could see that they were different than every other player. Yes, there's lots of guys on Team Canada that was the end of their career and they never stuck in the show and etc. But there's lots of guys that did and have made intense careers, and you could tell even when they were 18 that they were going to be somebody. And I would challenge you to say, name me 3 guys or 4 on this year's Team Canada that you can see playing 1,000 games in the NHL. And I don't think that you can do it. And I think that's just the difference. And it goes back, it's a part of a way bigger issue. And I don't want to ramble here, but it's a way bigger issue in terms of like the youth hockey academies. And it's a whole other rabbit hole that you can go down. It's just that these kids are way more, and I don't want to say they're coddled more, but it's way more, like even Brent talked about it. Kids play other sports in the summers. They do other things. They're more well-rounded people. It's not just hockey, 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 hockey 24/7. And I feel like we're doing the kids a disservice by having those things. And yes, I know you're trying to give them advantages, but I don't think that's the way to do it. I think we're headed down a wrong path. And I don't know how we reverse it. You can tell hockey academies they can't exist. Like, it's free enterprise, but I don't think it does the program, the athletes. I don't think it does the kids a service as humans. I just don't think they're mature enough at 18 as they were 10, 15, 20, 25 years ago. I would welcome the debate with anybody who wanted to have that conversation.
You have text messages coming in here. Dean agrees with you. I'm going to read that in a bit. Also, CJ has a text that I want to get to in a bit. But let's talk about this in hour 2, because kids are different now. And
100%.
We'll get into this, and you deal with kids too. So so much more to unwrap from all this, and we'll keep it going. Text messages 936-6262, Prairieland Rentals text line. Quick breather here, and we'll come back with the ticker. Sports Ticker is for Reliance Heath. Bundle and save event on right now. Rent a new water heater and softener together. Get $200 in cash back. Call on Reliance Heath today. Some hockey in the area. SJHL tonight. Nipawin. Well, they're in the Battleford, 7:30. The curling's continuing in Melville. Women got an 8 p.m. draw coming up. The men hitting the ice at 4 p.m. here in a couple of minutes' time. National Hockey League tonight. Canadian teams Vancouver and Buffalo. Toronto welcomes Florida. Winnipeg plays host to the Jets. That's a big game for the Jets. They got to try and get off the schneid a bit. And the Oilers are home to the Nashville Predators. CFL news, if you missed it moments ago, Dante Myers, sources are saying, has signed a future contract with the Cincinnati Bengals. Also, Damian Alford, receiver from the Calgary Stampeders, signing with the New Orleans Saints. It's a sports ticker for Reliance Heath. We'll be back in hour 2. We'll keep the chat going on Canadian hockey, read some of your text messages, and also Arash Madani is coming up and winning with Pump Jacks Cathedral Trivia. It's a Sports Cage. We'll be back in a couple minutes. Welcome back. Hour 2 of the show. If you're just tuning in, you missed in hour 1 Darcy Kuemper's father, Brent Kuemper. Try that again in hour 3 for you. That was an interesting interview. Lots of fun. Thanks, Brent, for coming on. Harry's with me today. Colson's on the other side, like I said, for Sask Lotteries. Prairieland Rentals text line. I'm going to get to a couple of these, Harry, right now. First off, I'll go to Dean. He said has no problems with Canada winning bronze. Puts them in the top 3 junior hockey programs in the world. Nothing wrong with that. Other countries are getting better and catching us. We're never going to have a dynasty again. I hope the message to the boys in the dressing room before the bronze medal game was one that they should be proud of what they accomplished and not that it's just bronze. Oh, yeah, good shout out, Dean. He also said he agrees with Harry about the maturity factor and the lack of discipline. I said at the beginning of the tournament, perhaps it's a matter of changing the coaching philosophy, Dean, in Regina. So let that way. I don't know about the coaching philosophy, the maturity thing and the kids and all that. The one thing I wanted to say before I went to break, if we go back to the 91 World Juniors, because you and I were kids, and we were wrapped up in it, and it was the first TSN one, and it was a big deal. And yeah, you think about the leaders on that team that were on that team. I want to say Brisebois, because he had like a taste of NHL. Obviously Eric Lindros, but he was still kind of young, but he was a man and a leader. Mike Craig came from the North Stars. On and on.
Chris Draper, Mike Cylinder was there from Regina. Pat Falloon. There's lots.
Mike Craigwell. So the thing about kids now, this is just a parenting, my thoughts on it, to when we were kids. Like, they are so entrenched in their phone, or if they're playing video games, and then they get into a dressing room atmosphere, and there isn't a lot of personality. And then the kids that have personality are kind of like crapped on. And they're going to make mistakes. They're kids. They do stupid stuff. And I'm not saying like hazing and all that was right, because if you've ever been in a hot box in a bus as a rookie, you look back at that and go, what the? But it's just, there isn't a lot of personality with a lot of them. And that's where they become robots. And you said, like, some of these kids are never going to be the Sidney Crosbys and all that. It's even as back to the street hockey that Brent Kuemper was talking about, Darcy playing street hockey. I said the other day that I was driving my son somewhere, and I said, like, this street back in the day, the way that the temperature is right now, the snow is packed down, this would be prime street hockey go time. You know what I mean? You know, the snow was hard, but not too hard. It wasn't that cold out. You could slide around and net your buddies. You'd get a ball out or a spongy or whatever you would, and you'd play street hockey for hours and hours and hours. And then you'd hate it when the street started to get ruddy, because then you kind of had to shut it down unless someone had a rink in the backyard or rich folks with pavement in the backyard. But it's just like, it saddens me sometimes that the kids are never experiencing the go build a fort and hang out with your friends in a fort for the summer. You know, some of it scares the crap out of me as a parent, just thinking about things down the road and trying to put them in bubble wrap. It's like, you can't. Like, they gotta, lessons, but it's like, they are just so on their phones. They're playing video games. And yeah, they're conversing on, I guess, when they're doing the video games and stuff. But like, I drive 3 of them to school every day to grade 9. And they all get in the car and they all get on their phone and they're playing some game with amongst each other. But there's just no like chatting. The odd time I get a conversation going, I'm like, yeah, and what do you think? And it's almost like I'm doing an interview here on the SportsCage, and I want to keep the conversation going, but it's usually, right into the phone. Here we go. So the personality, and then Zane Perrect comes out and actually shows some personality and then just gets roasted for it, where you think it's his agent that maybe tells him, you got to back up on that.
Yeah, I mean, it could be his parents too, or like, I would be shocked if the Flames were like, you need to come talk that back. I just don't think that that's their hill to die on. But I mean, I think it goes back. It's part of that problem is that the parents are, I mean, there's got to be a balance. Back when we were kids, I feel like parents weren't involved as much or at all. I mean, how many kids basically went home to an empty house, or like latchkey kids, right? There's no such thing as that anymore. It's always like play dates are arranged and everything's through the parents, and kids don't communicate. Like, it used to be you rang a kid's doorbell and we're like, hey, do you want to play? Or we're going to play, or we're going to play hockey today, or whatever. Like, kids were left to their own devices. Whereas I think parents as a whole are just too involved in everything that their child does. And I don't know if part of the reason that is the fear thing that you speak of wanting to protect them from everything, but you can't. And so I feel like that has to swing back the other way from parents being less involved. Like, parents have too much influence on everything that their children do. And I feel like it's not letting them develop their own identity. The kids don't have the ability to make decisions for themselves or come up with their own ideas, because it's like, I don't know, am I allowed to do that? Or is that a good idea, Mom? Or do we do that? Or like whatever. I feel like it's just part of a much bigger systemic issue. I mean, I thought about it today when I was walking, and this is kind of parallel to this discussion, is that when's the last time you heard anybody that went on a car trip that was longer than, there was like, let's say you're driving to Edmonton. It's a 5-hour car trip. And you used to do things like you'd play the town game, or you'd play I Spy, or like little simple things like that. Nowadays, when's the last time that you had a question or you had a discussion? But now every discussion you have can be solved in a second because you can just look it up on your phone. Or people are on their phone. They're either one kid's watching something on Netflix and the other one's playing a game, and one's reading a book, or the other parent's reading a book, and dad's staring out the window. And I just feel like that communication, we just don't talk or relate on a one-on-one level as humans anymore. There's just too many other distractions.
Rider games. How many times at a Rider game, or the kids, and then it's boom, right onto a phone. Back in the day, and I don't want to, again, it sounds.
I know.
Old,
I hate that.
And then being like, hey, we were the best. We were the best, age and adolescence and all that, because it's like we weren't. And definitely the people in the 60s weren't. But yeah, like, and I live with an educator, and I think what they do is amazing. But this is, Rose just commented on it. We got Tim, kind of Rhonda, Mike. This is the word. YouTube chat as well. Coddled.
Soft.
Coddled.
Yeah.
And kids are coddled. And I think a lot of times it stems from, well, I didn't have that when I was a kid, so I want them to have it.
Right.
It's like, but then make them earn it a bit. Make them like last night I watched the gold medal game with my daughter and my son. For the most part, my daughter will watch a hockey game front to back with me, like no doubt. The boy, Kate, phone, but actually they watch the game with me. Czechia, my daughter keeps calling him Chesnia. Like, as soon as you want to say anything about Kenny Chesney, it's not right. I have a tough time saying it, Gabby. Czechia, Sweden, 2 countries. We watched it because it was an awesome hockey game. And we all comment. They made comments. Look at that guy. Look at that guy. He did the pick trick. He did this. He did that. And I was like, this is awesome. Like, we don't get enough of this when you think about when we were kids, and we were lucky to have a World Junior game a lot of years before TSN took it over. Like I said, it was like the punch up in Piastani. I think my dad just fluked off that was on CBC. And it was like, oh, here it is. Let's watch this. It's like 10 in the morning. Shut off CJWW, Old Time Dance Party, or whatever was on. and then now it's just like to get them to watch a hockey game with me. And then, yeah. So, lot to unwrap. They're, are there still road hockey games? Somebody texted in. I hope there is. I don't see it enough.
Never. I haven't seen kids playing street hockey in 20 years.
And you're out and about a lot.
I've seen a few kids that play, like maybe siblings, like two brothers or a brother and a sister are playing in their driveway. That's just the two of them. It's not neighborhood kids. It's not a whole group of them. It's that little bubble, that insular bubble that they are trapped in, that they can't break out of unless their parents arrange something. Like,
remember having to call your buddies, and if they weren't home, and you needed like one extra guy or girl, and they weren't home, and the parents like, no, they're not home. I don't know when they'll be. Oh, come on. Or there was no answer, and they didn't have an answer machine. It's like, come on, Ken, we need you to come play.
I mean, it's like I said to you, this World Junior is a perfect example of these issues. Like the World Juniors is a microcosm of exactly what the issue is as a whole. It's a great shines a good spotlight on society in general. It's you don't have to look any further. Sports are a great parallel and a great metaphor for life, and I think this is a perfect example of. It's just the kids are different now, at least in Canada. I can't speak for other countries because I don't live in Finland or Sweden or Latvia. But I just know Canadian kids they're just different. It's just they're wired differently. It's a different mentality, and in some aspects there's parts of it that are good because you say like we didn't get everything right for sure, going back to like the bullying and the hazing and stuff like that. That's definitely something that as kids that we got wrong. But I feel like we did a lot of things right, and we had a lot of independence and learned to be independent. And I just feel that these kids aren't there. They're too structured and too afraid to make a mistake, too afraid to just be themselves. Because when they are, in the example of Perek, they get reprimanded for it, and they're like, well, I guess I'll just be like everybody else then. Like, God forbid I break out of the bubble.
Okay, keep the text messages coming, 936-6262, Prairieland Rentals text line. We'll get to more of them. My personal phone's blowing up with people wanting to chime in as well. And then Sharky just texts me. He's on a plane to Calgary. Guess what the text message says, Colson? Just got a call. The city will sell the Optimist and Kinsman Arena. The wheels are in motion. Might be purchasing a hockey rink with Sharky and some of you SportsCage listeners. Let's get it going with Arash Madani.
It's time to go coast to coast with Arash Madani for Smart Investing Solutions. Be smart with your money. Call Brian Gawley at Smart Investing Solutions, 546-2533.
Sorry, sir. We might have kept you waiting a little bit, but you know, when the wheels are in motion, things are going.
Stay out of the way.
You can't.
Stay out of the way.
Deep philosophical discussions.
Yeah.
I have some breaking news for you. John Harbaugh has been fired in Baltimore.
They fired him.
18 years there. So you wonder, what if Tyler Loop had made the kick?
Yeah. Is Tomlin the guy?
Right. Like organizational upheaval. It's not just that the coach is out. Now, like Harbaugh has been there for a generation. The way they just operated as a football organization. Now this whole thing could look altogether different.
But Lamar and him, it seemed like that relationship was strained, did it not, this year?
So hard to know with Lamar. He wasn't practicing a lot of Wednesdays. He's had a series of injuries.
Maybe he was at men's night.
I still go back to 2 years ago. 2 years ago, they're hosting the AFC Championship game. They're the 1 seed. They should have rolled Kansas City, and they refused to run the football, and Zay Flowers fumbles at the goal line, and Patrick Mahomes and company go on to do what they do. And then last year, Mark Andrews drops the ball in the end zone on a 2-point convert. And now all of a sudden, it's all over. Like, it changes that quick. 2 years ago, you're the 1 seed, and now it's done.
So how many vacancies are there now?
That's 7. And who knows what happens in Miami?
What do you think happens in Miami?
It's a good question. It looks like they're going to hire a GM first. And then will that GM want to keep Mike McDaniel? Does that GM keep Mike McDaniel around for a year because then he doesn't want to use his first bullet right away? I'm not sure. But man, there's some real jobs out there that are up for grabs.
Harry's mic's not on. Mic's gone again. I want to ask you while we fix Harry's mic. The Raiders, and I don't know if it was Dan Patrick today, one of the Danettes throughout. Like, they are paying over $50 million a year or something in coaches that are no longer there.
Insane.
And what happens with the Raiders going forward that you've heard, Arash?
Well, all signs are now indicating that Tom Brady is fully going to be involved in the football operation at the Las Vegas Raiders. Like, John Spytek comes over, he's the GM. He's a New England guy from when Tom was in Foxborough. And Mark Davis came out in that press release yesterday and basically said so. Tom posted a photo from outside Allegiant Stadium yesterday. Tom wants Tom's a competitive dude who wants to be great at everything. Now, so this is what I wonder.
Except marriage.
Zing.
Oh, wow. How long were you waiting on that one?
No,
15 years?
No, you got to make sacrifices sometimes.
So there's going to be talk of Belichick. Belichick's not going to the Raiders. So I wonder.
Oh, would that be funny?
So then you can have a sixth coach that you're paying after next year not to work for you.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder if Brian Flores becomes the guy. Flores was a defensive coach when Tom was in New England, had a run first with Miami. It didn't work out there. He's the new hot commodity defensive coordinator, et cetera, et cetera. Is Tom going to bring in somebody that he has worked with for a long time that he knows? That's what I wonder there with the Raiders.
Josh McDaniels gets a phone call from Tom Brady. I'm sure they talk. He picks up the phone and says no.
Well,
he's not a good head coach.
I think
he's not a good head coach.
Well, I think the Raiders are still paying him for the time they fired him as their head coach 2 years ago.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
You're back, Harry. Sorry, go ahead.
Where does the final chapter for Tom? Like, what's his ultimate goal? Does he want to be Jerry Jones? Does he want to do everything? Like, what is the end game here?
I mean, he's making more money now at Fox than he made his entire career as a starting quarterback.
Yeah.
And he's involved in so many business ventures. Here's my read on Tom Brady. Tom still hasn't found what he's looking for. He just wants to win in everything that he's signed up for. So whether that's broadcast, whether that's business, whether that's whatever. So what this suggests then is that the Raiders have to, with the number 1 overall pick, draft a quarterback. Because Geno Smith ain't it. Fernando Mendoza just won the Heisman Trophy. I saw somebody today, I can't remember who, made the comp of Fernando Mendoza with Drake May. I mean, I don't know. But, like, to me, Casey's fallen off. Who knows where the Chargers are? Denver's here to stay. That's going to be a competitive division moving forward. Tom wants himself. There's not another Tom Brady. You know? There's no other Tom Brady out there. So what do you do? I'm not sure.
Colson wants to know if that was Brady calling you.
It wasn't.
I feel like my game of the week is Packers and Bears. No love lost, obviously. Division rivals. It's kind of like fans couldn't really ask for a much better matchup for a playoff game. How do you see this one shaken down?
Well, I think back to the Saturday night before Christmas. Here's Green Bay. They're up 16 on Chicago late in the fourth quarter. And the sequence of events that had to happen for the Bears to win. They're facing 3rd and 20. There's a face mask penalty. All right, that sets up a first down. They score a touchdown. They get the 2. Then the onside kick. Green Bay fumbles it. Chicago recovers. Bears come down. Touchdown, 2-point to force overtime. Then you get to OT. Green Bay wins the toss, fumble the ball, and then the deep ball to DJ Moore. Like this. That's hitting like a 7-leg parlay right there. You know, that's you haven't won a bet in 3 months, and suddenly that's the way you're going to do it. But that's been the Bears' season. They can't do anything offensively in the first half. From the depths of despair, they win in the fourth quarter. At some point, Harry, you got to believe this magic fairy dust ride has got to come to some kind of end, don't you?
Well, didn't we see a little bit of that in Detroit this week? Where the tank is starting to empty.
I think we saw that with the Lions, period, this season. I know what you mean, but now it's the playoffs. Like I'm interested. Jordan Love hadn't played in 2+ games coming off the concussion. Where's he at? Green Bay is definitely a reputation team. And Well, not only is there no love lost between these two teams, there's also no secrets, right? This is playing a team a third time. Everybody knows everything about them. You just went up against one another. Like, to me, this just comes down to execution and what can Caleb do in the fourth quarter. A lot of it comes down to that.
Okay, let's stay NFC today, AFC Thursday, if that's okay.
Sure.
So,
yeah, of course.
Packers, Bears, I don't know if there is, here we go again, sounding old. I don't know if there was a wild card weekend that I can remember where all bets are like sprinkling will be really tight. There are going to be, like, you look at, if you want to call them upsets, like, how is Buffalo a point? We're going to get to AFC on Thursday. I'll leave that alone. How is the Rams? I just lost a number of units on the Rams losing in Carolina 4 weeks ago. And now they're going back to the same facility, probably staying in the same hotel, and they're 10-point favorites. But what happened? Did I hit my head over the holidays? Makes sense of this one.
And on top of it all, they're calling for rain on Saturday in Charlotte. It's a grass field. It could be a slow, muddy track. Look, when the Rams are cooking on offense, they're probably the most lethal team in football. Here's the issue. They haven't been cooking with gas for like 3 or 4 weeks now.
Mm-hmm.
And when they lost to the Falcons last week, Sean McVay was pissed. Like, he came out and said, no, we're playing everybody next week because we need to start playing good football. We need to get into a rhythm. They haven't been in one in a while. Okay, they've won some games. They've lost some games. Double digits is a lot as a road team. And double digits is a lot as a road team in the playoffs. The thing about the Rams is twofold, though, and this is what always worries me. One, they can explode in bunches on offense. But Jared Verse alone is a one-man wrecking crew. Block field goal, takes it back for a touchdown himself. The defense and special teams for LA can be enough of a factor. I'll just say this. Carolina has no business being in the playoffs. 8-9 should not get you in.
And a home game. And a home game.
6 of their 8 wins have either been come from behind or fourth quarter last minute drives to win it. And still I just don't think you can do 10.
I want to hammer at Sports Select right now. It's 10.5.
Oh,
like, I don't know how I don't go and sell some things.
Like, how can you lay off that?
10.5 points in an NFL playoff game when the weather is suspect.
On the road?
You're on the road and you just lost there 4 weeks ago. And the Rams haven't looked that good. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. 49ers, Eagles. I don't know. Okay.
By the way, we talked about the coaching vacancies. To me, like, we talked about how bad the Carolina Panthers are 8-9. To me, Atlanta is the most attractive job of all. You have Drake London, you have Kyle Pitts, you have Bijan Robinson, you have real weapons on offense. We'll see what Michael Penix can become. But you're also in a division where being below 500 gets you to host a home playoff game. That, to me, is an attractive job right there.
Yeah, it's almost like you pay your entry fee, you have a good chance of making the playoffs.
Yeah,
in that division. And then, draft another quarterback when you just sign. Like, man, they made some weird decisions, though. And Atlanta, 49ers, Eagles, I don't know enough about this one. Both of these teams seem very Jekyll and Hyde. The Eagles, defending champs, they pedigree, all that. Then the 49ers look deadly at times, and then they look deadly awful. I don't know what to do on this one. And the line keeps moving.
It started with the Bosa ACL, and then it was Fred Warner, and on it went. They just lost another linebacker to a torn groin in the Seattle game.
Oof.
Which now means, guys, when the 49ers began their season, when they broke camp with their 53-man roster, they went with, I think, 6 linebackers on the roster. All of them are out. All of them.
That's insane.
All of them. And their best pass rusher is out. And their first-round defensive back is out. This San Francisco defense has been borrowing, and stealing its way to get into the playoffs, to be in this kind of situation. I like Philly a lot. I know they didn't even score. They didn't even complete a pass, have 1 passing yard against Buffalo a couple of weeks ago in the second half. But there's a little prop I like. Dallas
I'm
Goedert,
listening.
yes, I know. I thought you would be. Dallas Goedert, the Eagles' veteran tight end, the receiving yards number is 40.5. When you think about linebacker play, okay, yeah, some of it you're going after the quarterback, you're stopping the run, you're going back in coverage, etc. You're going to, like, Eric Kendricks was signed off the couch 2-3 weeks ago. To me, the middle of the field, the way you can deploy and exploit with your tight end is wide open. And to me, that's where you don't have to force Jalen Hurts to stretch the field. You don't have to go to AJ. You don't have to go to Devontae. Make higher percentage throws with your tight end. That's what I like.
Little look behind my weird curtain. I love betting on tight ends to score 2+ touchdowns on props, and not like big sprinkle, just little ones. But I don't know. It's a weird thing I do.
10, 11, 12 to 1, 15 to 1.
Yeah, I 2 touchdowns, tight ends, especially in tough games, greasy games. I said it's weird. I put cornflakes on my porridge. That's how I grew up. Can we talk CFL quickly? What do you think about Dante Myers, Cincinnati? When do we see him back at Labor Day? Do you think he sticks? I know it's hard.
Yeah, it's hard. Look, here's the thing. Remember, Dante Myers is a free agent. So it's not like his rights revert back to the Riders anyway if he goes down there. So he'd be up for grabs. Twofold. First of all, I think this is an amazing story. A dude who began his college career at somewhere called Presbyterian, then went to a D2 school, something called Delta State University, and then ends up as a 1,000-yard receiver in the pros with the Riders and wins a Grey Cup, and now lands in Cincinnati, where there's T. Higgins on one side and there's Jamar Chase on the other, and Joe Burrow is going to be throwing me passes. I mean, that right there, regardless of what happens this preseason, offseason, is an amazing ride for Myers. But how do you know? He's 25. A lot has to work out. A lot has to happen. I just think the one thing that Rider fans should remember is that he is a free agent. Now, do you save cap room in case in August or September he's available and that's somebody you want to go get? Maybe you wait and see. But it's a pretty amazing kind of run for Myers and what he's been able to accomplish.
It's only 5'11".
He's small.
Yeah.
You know who I thought, and I won't even say that. Damian Alford.
Oh.
He had NFL eyeballs written all over him all year, and he's 6'6", and he's gonna get some cash anyway. See where it goes with the Saints.
Yeah, but they're two different players altogether, right? Just what their role in an NFL offense would be are going to be two different things. I mean, your boy Edelman, your boy Wes Welker, they were what, 5'9", 5'10", in high heels?
Throw a Shefsky in there.
I think Edelman likes wearing high heels from time to time.
There's your coach of the Raiders.
There's a coach. He doesn't need the aggravation. He doesn't need the aggravation. His seat box is pretty good.
Okay, so Thursday we can talk AFC. We'll have like Patriots stuff up in here. I'll get some old gear on, and we'll talk AFC. I'm not that confident on the Patriots, by the way. I'll just leave it at that, and we can pick it up on Thursday. Weather looks good. Foxborough.
He's hedging. He's just hedging.
Yeah, no, I'm going to the credit union right now and saying I need money for this 10.5 point spread.
I like it. I like it. 10.5. That's
10.5. Sports Select. Thanks for the half. Okay, bud. Talk to you Thursday.
See you, boys.
See you, Arash.
Coast to Coast with Arash Madani is brought to you by our good friend Brian Golly. Smart investing solution. Be smart with your money. Call Brian at Smart Investing Solution. All right, we're getting at her here. 17 left, in this hour. Let's go to break. I got a lot of text messages. People are really agreeing with Harry today. His comments on children. For a guy that doesn't have children, you're getting a lot of people agreeing with you on children. And then we'll have our clutch performer. We still got winning the trivia coming up and a whole lot more. It's a Sports Cage on 620 CKRM. All right, clutch performer next year. Also known as birthday greeting time. We forgot this yesterday, I guess, or Tegan and Dave and Colson slipped through the cracks. Captain Harvey, one of our favorite texters, 71 years old yesterday.
Good for you.
So, that a boy. Keep plugging on. Let me know your secret. I hope I make 71. So that's clutch. That's clutch. Colson, over to you.
I know you guys both appreciate some golf. So here is Rory McIlroy's 4-year-old daughter. And he brings her onto the, for those listening on the radio, brings her onto the green.
Oh, this is at the Masters a few years ago.
Yeah. Just to do a little putt. Taps it. Doesn't actually like swing or anything. Just rolls and rolls and rolls. Picking up speed. And you know where this goes.
That's crazy.
Yeah, right?
What's her name? She's got a really Irish. One of his daughters has a real not Peppa. She's got a real
That
Poppy.
just came up.
Poppy.
Yeah. That just came up on my feed, and I was like, that's great, especially for how much effort you put into it, just tapping it. But
Do you have the video for people watching the stream? If not, on the radio and the audio streams, I'll paint a picture for you. If maybe you saw it out there. Team Sweden, after the win last night in Minnesota, they went onto the ice. The rink is cleared out. Some of them are scantily clad. They're skating around with the trophy and celebrating.
that's also a Bluetooth speaker, I think, blasting tunes.
Somebody will crap on that. And that's what we need. That's what we're talking about, Harry, right?
Yeah, it's the same thing that when the Canadian women came out on the ice after they won gold a few years ago at the Olympics. They were smoking cigars and having a great time on the ice, and people were all over them about having cigars, and it's ridiculous. Like, just let them be. They earned it. They poured their heart into that championship, and they give them 5 minutes to enjoy it without crapping all over them.
I dated a girl once that was a big cigar goer. Switched her sweets, I think. Colson, you got another one?
Yeah. Harry already mentioned him today, but SGA, Sports Illustrated Player of the Year. So get on the cover of magazine's pretty good. Not so much in this day and age.
That's a Canadian on Sports Illustrated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Steve Nash ever do that?
Good question.
But that's not
I do not believe so.
McLean's. That's the Big Daddy. That's Sports Illustrated.
Yeah, first Canadian since Wayne to have it by himself. Like, that's that's many moons. You're keeping score at home.
Yeah. Nash ended up on it with like regular issues, but not Player of the Year. So, yeah. And
Do people still buy magazines?
dentists, maybe, doctor's offices for in the waiting room.
What about those ones that are in special packaging and places?
Tell me more. I'm confused. Which magazines do you speak of?
I was actually I think I was at a Shoppers Drug Mart a little while ago and saw magazines and crossword puzzles and all that. And I'm like, still going with it, eh?
I'll give you a clutch performer. There's news that broke this afternoon that Akshay Bhatia on the PGA Tour supposedly turned down a very lucrative offer to go play with Liv, which is very refreshing because he's very young. He's got a pretty bright future in front of him. He's got a pretty solid college career under his belt. So it's nice to see that there's guys still turning down money for the greater good.
That'd be big coin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We're talking definitely 9 digits for sure.
I love when I see the articles about Liv on how it's like Liv's running out of money. It's like, do your research on who owns Liv. Yeah. They're never running out of money. They could literally buy the whole world.
Just print more.
They have so much money over there. All right. Is that good?
Last one.
Okay.
Weyburn Red Wings.
Oh, is this a goal?
Yeah. OT winner. For those listening on the radio, feet get swept out, falls down, sliding beside the net, still gets the stick on it, slides it into the corner past the goalie. Great goal. OT winner.
It was Alex Ovechkin-esque, Harry. We were doing global sports.
Very reminiscent of that Ovi goal.
When Ovechkin scored that in Phoenix.
Mm.
What's that kid's name?
Luke Schrader.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a classic. All right, clutch performer. Here, let's go to break. Come back. A lot of your text messages are coming up. It's the cage. Okay, Prairie Land Rentals, 600 Albert Street. You get to deal with the owner. If you need anything to rent for this winter, maybe you're out on the job site. Maybe you're thinking about doing something. They probably have it, and they are the Husqvarna dealer in Regina. They got a few snow throwers left. Snow throwers, snow blowers. That's what Husqvarna calls them. You're buying quality. You're not buying crap. 600 Albert Street. I haven't read some of these text messages, but Kevin and Comox. What's the golfing season like in Comox, Kevin? And the course situation there. I know a lot of people go there to fish. If I go with some guys that want to go fishing, I'm not a fisher guy. Once I lost my Len Thompson 5 of diamonds in Waskesiu as a youngster, that was it for me. So let me know if there's golf around there. And he says, yes, kids are different, but how can you blame them when the adults have changed the world they live in? Yes, I play street hockey for hours, but I played street hockey for hours. That'd be deadly if you did right now. But I didn't have many options like kids do today. My bigger fear is that the world will be like when today's kids are in charge.
Right. Definitely not blaming the kids. They're a product of their environment. And like we touched on, the parents are just too involved. But I mean, as kids get a little bit older, they still got to bear a little bit of the responsibility.
Elaine in Swift Current. Nice sunny day in Swift. She sent some photos. We're not going to post them. Her grandkids, she took this while listening to the show. Her grandkids are still inventing fun. They did last week. They built a fort. Phones ignored for hours. Fort building?
Love it.
Although my wife is an educator, anything with a roof on it, like back in the day when we used to find the big snow piled up at the OK Economy on 20th Street, or whatever the guy, and we'd go and build a big fort in there. If that thing collapses on you, there's a kid that just tragically died in Regina a few years ago on that. So don't let your kids do that. But that's awesome, Elaine. Thanks for the photo. Roscoe in Kindersley. Roscoe, I'm going to Magic Cuts tomorrow, by the way. Get my hair did. Last street hockey game on our block was 2004. 84-year-old grandpa in goal. And he sends a picture.
That's awesome.
That is good. Love that, Roscoe. Big Bry said other countries are catching up and improving coaching competition. The caveat I put on the World Juniors is that I'm not sure it's close if we play the unavailable kids in the NHL. Yeah, a lot of people have kind of mentioned that as well. James Hamilton. James would have been up for Texture of the Year last year as well. Always got some stuff. Really good show. Watch for Belichick strolling down Vegas Boulevard soon. He basically has the same salad as Mark Davis. Just needs a quick trim. NFL Pro Line. Lots of ties this week. Trust me, James, I smell what you're cooking there. But Belichick's not ending up in Vegas. His days are done.
For sure.
He was junk with the Patriots the last couple of years, and I know this because I'm a Patriots fan, once Tommy left. And then he went to North Carolina and kind of embarrassed himself in a number of different avenues there. He just needs to go get his boat, get into Nantucket, and take it from there.
I feel like he's become a bit of a punchline over the last half dozen years.
And maybe date someone within 20 years.
That's not helping. That's not helping things.
Yeah, like that's just weird.
Yeah, very.
So yeah, 936-6262 YouTube chat as well. People chiming in about Dante Myers, thinking that he will be back. But again, like Arash said, he's a free agent, so he doesn't have to come 306 way. And then Damian Alford with the Stamps. I'm really curious on what happens there. I like that guy.
Comox Golf Club closes at 7 p.m.
Tonight?
Yeah.
Give me a forecast check in Comox. How about that? Where, like
7 p.m.
Where is that on the island? It's got to be rainy right now. Isn't it a rainy season?
As far as on the island, if you're actually on the island, it's in the middle of it. Development-wise, it's the higher north side of the island. And then Comox forecast, it is 35% chance of precipitation right now.
Oh, I'm there.
It's doable.
Harry,
it's doable.
We're grabbing our umbrellas, maybe some rain gear, get the speaker in the basket, get a little rickshaw. Let's go.
It's like a 10-15 minute drive from the airport there too.
Oh, I see where Comox is now. It's in that kind of, I don't want to call it an inlet. Was that a strait? It's called a strait?
Inlet might be the right word.
That's got to be
fjord?
beautiful.
It's not mountainous. No.
That's got to be beautiful country. Like, that's the kind of place you go to and you just go, I don't want to get on that plane on the way home.
Or I should have been here 20 years earlier.
Should have been here long. Should have been a cowboy.
Yeah. While you were talking building forts and stuff, though, just quick story time from my upbringing. About 20 years ago, my parents redid the deck in our backyard, and they never put railings on it again, which, to be fair, it's probably a 4-foot drop off the edge of the deck, and most of us were grown enough at that point that either we weren't going to hurt ourselves from that fall, or everyone who could get hurt was being watched. The point I'm getting at is, in the winter, great sledding hill. And so even though like we're fully grown now, you still build it up, try and get a decent sledding hill, probably about 6 feet high, go down off the deck.
Off the deck?
Into the backyard. We've gotten close to getting it up to the roof, but it's right up against the actual door to get onto the deck, so you can't actually get it onto the roof.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then there's some years where you get a dump of like a foot of snow. Yeah, bring the snowblower in the backyard, snowblow all the snow from the yard onto the deck.
That's fun.
Yeah.
That's fun. When you have kids, keep doing that stuff. I remember sometimes I look at myself in the mirror and I go, don't be lazy. I remember building once a little luge thing for the kids off the deck in the backyard because it was just perfectly set up and there was lights and all that. And then building a hockey rink. There is nothing better than building a rink for your kid in the backyard. I almost did it again this year just because. And then I was like, yeah, and then we're going to get rain. The worst is when you get rain and then it melts.
And now it's a curling
rink. Freezes. And then the leaves start going. Yeah, lots of good. So, yeah, we got some pictures of kids building forts, kids playing street hockey. Times are different. And it all stems from our conversation about the World Juniors. And really the Zane Perrect comments that he has to backtrack on, which Harry and I both are like, no, just double down on it. But we don't know who, told him, hey, you want to retract that. Go be a robot. Be what exactly you said you didn't want to be 3 or 4 or 5 days ago. Like, let the kid be a kid because they are robotic and they're always on their phones. And I see it every day. Someone messaged in about that they drove kids to school like 15 years ago and they would be on their phones. So that'd still be iPhones, right? 15 years ago. It's kind of the start. Yep. And then they're like, yeah, too bad that things haven't changed. It's probably gotten worse because now it's like multiple games and yeah, it's a different time. Okay, we're up against the block. Can you play it? Let's get some calls here. Trivia time.
It's time for SportsCage Trivia for Pump Jacks. Great food, cold local draft, and a place that feels like home.
All right. Playing for 100 today, Coulson? Yes. $100 at Pump Jacks Cathedral. 13th and Albert. Great venue if you want to go maybe for an after work pint or bite, or weekends, music till 8 o'clock. Or music on weekends, kids are allowed till 8 o'clock. Pump Jacks Cathedral. Try Kerwin's Crispy Ribs. You will not be disappointed. So question today, I did tease it. It's based around curling. 936-6262. Colson will go with caller 3 again. Brad Marsh style. Who has won the most men's curling championships in Saskatchewan history? The Tankard. I'll give you a hint. He's won 10.
Oh.
You give me that cat's name. 936-6262. Go to break, come back with the ticker, and hopefully a winner. Some news out of the CFL. Dante Myers, free agent, Saskatchewan Roughrider, Grey Cup champion, signed with Cincinnati, a futures contract. Also, receiver in Calgary, Damien Alford, signed with the New Orleans Saints. Jalen Hutchins signs a future contract from the Stamps with the Minnesota Vikings. Curling continuing in Melville. It is the women's and men's provincial championships. The men on the ice right now. Women, 8 p.m. draw in Melville. All the details and standings, look it up on SportsCage.com later tonight or tomorrow morning. Some hockey, SJHL. Regular season continues. Battleford hosting Nipawin. National Hockey League Canadian teams. Vancouver's in Buffalo. Toronto welcomes Florida. Winnipeg plays host to Vegas. Edmonton home to Nashville. It's for the home of the price match guarantee. Extreme Hockey and Sport, where the deals continue, and they have just opened up in Moose Jaw. Extreme Hockey and Sport is now in Moose Jaw. Congratulations to them. They're in the Temple Gardens Mineral Spa there, so you can visit them. And, of course, price match guarantee. All right, so it was Pump Jacks Cathedral trivia time. And who do we have? Wade. Wade in Regina on the phone. Wade, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Right on. How's your day going?
Not bad, not bad.
Okay, we're playing for $100 at Pump Jacks Cathedral. Even if you don't get it right, you're still winning a lunch. So not all is lost. But my question, Wade, you have 10 seconds to answer it. Who has won the most men's curling championships in Saskatchewan history with 10?
I wouldn't even know. I'm just going to say Team Saskatchewan, and I'm probably wrong.
You still got a lunch, Wade. You still got a lunch.
Okay, I'll try and pick it up sometime this week.
That's okay. Stay on the line. Colson's going to take your information. The correct answer we were looking for, we had a lot of people call in today, too, playing along. The correct Garnet Campbell, gentleman's name. He's won 10 overall. He won his first title in 1947, a little before our time. Later secured 6 championships in a productive partnership with the legend Bob Pickering. So Garnet Campbell, 10 times. Learned something today. You know who's won it? Who's on his name 7 times for the Tankard? We covered this guy back in our global days, Harry. Stephen Laycock.
Steve Laycock.
Yeah. Didn't we cover him when he was a junior?
Yep.
Yeah. The Richardson family, I've heard of them. They won 14. Yeah, the Richardsons rolled into town. And you knew you were in for it. Tankard of some sort.
Gonna be an 8-ender.
Yeah, so 150 on the line next Tuesday for Pump Jacks Cathedral. That'll be fun against, they're located at 13th and Albert. Live music on the weekends. Wing Wednesday coming up tomorrow. You might see me there, although I should probably sit out a few Wing Wednesdays after the holiday season. We're going to come back. Glen Suitor in hour 3. If you missed Brent Kuemper, Darcy Kuemper's dad, that's also coming up. And Sprinkle of the Day. It is a Sports Cage on 620 CKRM. Welcome back to the show on Tuesday. Flying by. Harry is with me co-hosting today. Colson's got things buttoned up on the other side of the board. Thanks for making time, however you're listening, whether if it's on the audio streams, maybe you're watching on the YouTube feed through sportscage.com and always on 620 CKRM. A lot of people driving home downtown Regina today. It's that kind of getting warm, melty. I'm sure the highways might get a little slick out there. 936-6262, Prairie Land Rentals text line. Thanks to everyone who's texted in today talking about the World Juniors and Canada hockey and kids these days. And is it okay for a kid to show emotion like Zane Perek did and then he had to backtrack? A lot of comments. A lot of people just think kids these days are coddled. That has been the majority, or the word, I guess, that has come up a lot on all the text lines today. It figures that kids are just coddled. Now, does that translate to junior hockey and these kids that won bronze yesterday, which is okay? Like we talked about it off the hop, Harry. It's like at least they went in and did the job against Finland instead of just going, well. Didn't Canada, after they lost the shootout in Nagano, have to play the Finns for bronze and we lost?
Yeah, correct.
That was the pros. And
yeah,
not one's not more devastating than the other, but you saw the emotion on the kids' faces after losing to Czechia. Crying, emotion, great. Then they had to turn it around. I joked, put wet gear on like it was a rec tournament and go back out there hours later and play for bronze, which they won. Kudos to them. Now, Canadian hockey, and then we started it with, we're insecure as a country, especially when it comes to sports and hockey. It's like, there doesn't need to be a referendum on things, and we can point and say, well, there was all these players in the NHL that never came. So what?
That's the story every year.
Yeah.
Every year there's NHL guys that do not come back. It's just the reality of it, and that's the cost of doing business, and Hockey Canada has adapted to that, and there's always ways to find other players. There's other players that can step up. It's not the end-all be-all because it's not new. It's always been that way. There's always been guys that don't come back after when they're that good and they've stuck in the NHL. Teams aren't willing to release them, and nor should they.
And there's been Americans that have stayed and played in the NHL. There's been Russians when they were allowed, didn't go and play, so on and so forth. Somebody texted about was it the tournament MVP? Now he goes and plays in Kelowna as they go for the Memorial Cup. He was playing, John Keane texted me, I asked where he was playing. He was playing pro in Czechia. And then good on, they traded his rights from Lethbridge had him to Kelowna. And yeah, now he's going to go play with Tija Ginla and others in Kelowna. Great move by the Hamiltons there. But yeah, just back to everything that we're talking about. And last week, other countries are good. And yeah, we had kids in the NHL, but we had a really good team. Czechia played unbelievable again against us. They are a good team as well. Their goaltender plays up the road in Paradise for the Raiders. He was, I'm sure you'd want it back. Then you watched them play the Swedes yesterday, and that's where I actually got to sit with my kids and watch a hockey game, which was so rewarding for me, like the family time. It was like the olden days. But Sweden was so good, and they were blocking shots. And, I think, too, you look back at hockey, 91 you and I talk about, because it was in Saskatoon, and it was a big deal in the World Juniors and TSN's first, takeover of it. There was a lot of bad hockey. No one wanted to watch a lot of those games. Blowouts. No. And the hockey was different, for sure. That's another thing. Canadians used to be able to run over teams and intimidate them, and these kids were just like, oh no, we got to play Canada. And there wasn't the shot blocking back then. You don't lie to me and say that there was. You even watch NHL games from the 80s. Guys are Flamingo Central, getting out of the way. But the hockey has changed, and then these kids play over here now. So they're not intimidated by us. So that's for some people are like, they shouldn't be allowed to play in the CHL. I disagree. There's an import rule. Let the kids come over and play in our leagues. You wanted to say something?
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't make any sense to limit that'd be like saying the CFL should only have Canadian players. Like, it just doesn't make sense. It's not the product you're looking for. Why wouldn't you want to have the best product available?
Or the NBA. I mean, we went to the NBA.
Yeah.
How basketball in America has been taken over by the 5 best players in the world, arguably are not from America.
Yeah. Just because it's not an American player that's coming to play in the CHL doesn't mean they shouldn't be allowed to play because they're from Czechia or Finland or Sweden. And you brought up a good point, and it's kind of something that I go back and forth in my head about, is that, yes, I feel like Canada has maybe lost their identity in terms of what they deliver, and that everybody else is caught up. But maybe it's time to go back to that, which is like that hard-hitting, we're going to run you out of the rink, aggressive kind of type of hockey. And again, I hate to give kudos because I'm not a huge fan of him, like a Dion Phaneuf, and then Jordan Tutu, that kind of stuff. Like, Jordan Tutu was arguably one of the most popular Canadian players to ever play in the World Junior Hockey Championships for the simple fact that he ran around and put everybody through the boards, right? Teams were afraid to play him. Now, I get that you lose a little bit of that mystique because these kids are playing against some of these guys in their regular leagues. But I felt that that's another component of Team Canada that was lacking, is that killer instinct, which can also go to that maturity factor, and that just like, we're going to run you out of the rink. We are bigger, stronger, and we're going to show you why. And I get it. I hear your argument to it, and so it's not as simple as that anymore, because a lot of the kids are the same size, etc. We don't have that, or that's just not the team they're picking. And and you don't want to run in, because power plays are so important in today's game. You can't have your team be shorthanded.
I see it all the time in body contact hockey, where it's like arm goes up just because it was a loud hit or a big hit. Right. And it's all the time. Hit to the head, 4 minutes. It's like, what? Like the game has changed so much, which is it's good or maybe unfortunate, where with that whole play the Canadian way is gone, because it'll just be in the penalty box. The other thing before we get to suits here, Troy Murray ref the game, the gold medal game, Sweden and Czechia last night from Regina. I think he's a firefighter in Saskatoon now, is a story. And then I started reading up a little bit more on Troy, and I was fact checking with some guys that would have known him. He played Junior A for the Notre Dame Hounds in Wilcox when they had the Junior A team. And then on days that they didn't have games, even practice, they'd let him go. He'd go on lines in the WHL. There's a story I got while playing Junior A hockey.
That's crazy.
That's a fascinating story. Yeah. You got to get him on the show at some point, although sometimes they don't let the refs talk. But that was nice to see him out there. And he called a good game. There was some flopping and diving and all that. And it was all, he was like probably rolling his eyes. He's like, I know that old trick.
I see what you're doing.
Yeah. Let's bring in Glen Suitor. There's no intro? All right. Well, there's the intro. Glen Suitor's the intro. He's been listening.
Hey, there he is.
Been listening in, gentlemen. Been listening in. Harry, I love your backdrop there. That looks like a real man cave you got going on behind you there.
100%. Someday I'll give you the full panorama view.
I love it.
Yeah, you don't even see the golf wall. That's the impressive is the golf and all the frames and the courses he's played and all that. But you've been listening, like you said, throughout the program. Mm-hmm. And just, what's your take on it? You've coached some youth in hockey in your day?
Yeah, actually for I 6 or 7 years coached basically house league hockey. And my son was on the team and was at the North Shore Winter Club. And there's been a lot of big name players that have come out of the North Shore Winter Club. I think Connor Bedard actually played there for a little bit in North Van. And, I found, just comparing the cultures of the two sports was interesting in itself, but I never found the kids to be the issue ever. And I was with them, let's say probably age 8 up until most of the guys are done, unless they're going to the junior level. But, it was difficult managing parents. And and I want to be careful here because parents are doing what they believe is best for their kids, and they're trying to give them every opportunity. But they have locked in their head that there is this ultimate goal at the end that will lead to millions of dollars and your name on the Stanley Cup. And the one way I try to curve it, and I would recommend this with amateur coaches that might be listening in, if your parents ever want to talk to the coach, always have the open door policy, obviously, but bring the kid along with him. So if mom or dad wants to have a meeting with the coach, make sure Junior is in that room with them. And I found that quickly it went from why isn't my kid on the power play to the kid being almost embarrassed by mom or dad's ranting and raving about ice time and things like that. It really was a challenge to try to get the message across to parents that the goal here for me was, and we had assistant coaches to work on skills, but the goal for me was to teach them how to be a great teammate. And when you sat in the room, to be as excited about your partner's success and the guy sitting beside you as you are about, what your goals are personally. And if we could get that and get everyone to buy in, that's a life lesson that they can take well beyond the rink, and take into their personal lives. So that was always my goal. Now, we had guys that worked on skills, of course, and I love the sort of, as you guys were mentioning, the physical style of hockey, that finish your check kind of style. I think that's a good strategy in hockey, play in their end and be physical and forecheck hard and be aggressive and have your point men jump in, all of those kind of things. But those are coaching styles and they can vary big time. But to me, this special camps and training facilities and let your kid play baseball, learn that skill, let your kid play hockey, love your kids, and then let the coaches coach your kids. Because even if the coach is somebody you don't quite agree with on every turn, they're learning a lesson anyway. They're going to learn a lesson. Even if you don't like the coach or you think he's a bad coach, they're going to learn how to be great in spite of him.
So what I've heard at the junior level now, even major junior, you have parents messaging coaches and management of major junior team. That's where we have gotten to. And then sometimes it's the advisors or agents, but sometimes it is the parents, which just blows my mind. The other thing I love the fact of bringing the kid in to the meeting, and what's the problem is like for coaches to. The other thing I really don't like when it gets to a certain level, parents coaching their kids. Like, that's fine when they're young and they're little, or it's just kind of, fun or whatever. There's a point where they need different voices. And I find that the same parents coaching over and over and over, I've seen it. Then all of a sudden the kid's playing for somebody else and it's like a foreign concept, and it doesn't work out well. Now, everyone parent the way you want, and it not to slag on coaches because they're putting in a lot of time and doing different things. But yeah, I think that's a really good point. Is the kid? There's probably some accountability to have the kid in the room as well.
Well, yeah, and he will pretty much expose the issue. I'll give you an example. I won't give you names, but I'll give you an example. I was in a meeting with one of our players, and probably 11 years old now. And mom was angry about ice time, power play time, things like that. And Junior's sitting in there with her, And we had lots of players. We had 2 house league teams at the time and 20 players on each team because they were full rosters. And in fact, some kids couldn't dress each game because it was just too many. But so we had put together as coaches rules that would determine what kind of ice time you got. In other words, if you were at practice, you were on the roster, you were dressing. If you were at practice, and we would have a little scorecard of how hard you worked, not skill levels, just how hard you worked. And if you were talking to your buddy or goofing off, then that was a mark, those kind of things. And I asked the players at the beginning of the year to install that system. How would you like us to manage this? This is your team. How would you like us as coaches to manage this? So we're sitting in that room. And I turned to Junior and I said, well, you guys voted on the system. Have you explained it to your mom? And he went, well, no, not really. And I said, okay, so maybe we should do that. And how many practices have you missed this month? And he goes, well, all of them. And okay, so does mom know? And then he burst into tears, which was unfortunate, but he burst into tears and mom goes, well, this isn't right. And I'm going, well, this is the system that these kids voted on. They decided on. It's their team. And so it was just an example of how that word spread quickly. And I had very few meetings in the next 3 or 4 years with parents. Of course, had the hockey director in the room too. Make sure you do that. So it can't be he said, she said when you walked out of the door. But it just brings a sort of a sense of reality to the conversation, and you don't get into ranting back and forth and things like that. So I strongly recommend it. But listen, the World Juniors played hard. I thought because you lose one game does not mean a revamp of the entire system. Like, come on, guys. Like that's crazy when this happens year after year and they don't make it to the gold medal game and all of a sudden the whole thing is a problem. Like it's not. And the kids will go in the direction that you as coaches lead them.
Mm-hmm. Not to belabor, because I know we have other things to talk on, but I mean, it's a perfect example. Like teaching these kids and these parents too, like boundaries. Like sports shouldn't be life. Life is life. Sports teach you lessons that you can take into your life. And if we don't have boundaries, is your mom gonna phone your job and phone your boss when you didn't get a raise? Like you're setting these kids up for such poor coping skills down the road that they're not going to be able to do anything without their parents interjecting. And I cringe the fact that a junior hockey team would even entertain phone calls from parents. I would be like, click. I would hang up immediately. What's the worst that happens? They pull their kid off your team and then you go find another 16 or 15-year-old kid to play? 100%. Like the fact that we've let that balance of power skew so far into that realm that we're afraid to rein parents in is ridiculous, and it's only hurting these kids, and it's just going to get worse.
Okay, all really good topics, but yeah, because we only have it for a little bit of time here. Let's. I want to get some comments on. First off, Micah Johnson calls it a career, and the quick transition to defensive line coach in Saskatchewan.
Well, I love it, and what a career! I mean. And forget about him physically. I mean, physically, that goes without saying. I mean, and the stats and the championships and how he even on low stat years where maybe his sack total was down a bit, Micah was blowing up offenses. I mean, doubles and triple teams every single play. I many times from the booth just circled him. It had to be a bigger circle than most, but circled him on the telestrator and showed him taking 3 guys back to the lap of the quarterback and maybe not getting the sack or a stat on the play, but causing an errant throw and an interception or whatever. So his stats, I don't think, tell the full story of just how dominant of a player he has been. Now, his decision, I like it. I think he'll be a great coach, but not because he was a great player. That doesn't always translate. I mean, we've seen many times when great players, some of the best in their sport, don't understand fully the coaching, angle to it. And you can't just walk in there and say, do it the way I did it. Because there's no one that can do it like Micah Johnson did. Well, not no one, but there's very few that can do it with the power that he used. I think he'll be a great coach though, because he, I saw a Rob Vanstone interview with him and article, and he talked about how much he loved understanding his particular job and responsibility. So that tells me, and all the conversations I had with him throughout the years, you could just see it, how much he studied, how much he understood the guy beside him, what his responsibilities were. That will translate. Now, there's going to be different work hours. There's going to be long, long days for Micah Johnson, where as a player, he was going home to get his feet up. Now he's going to be in the office going through video and breaking it all down and all that. So he's got it. He knows that, though.
Supposedly, Coach Mace makes some mean chicken, too. So coaches are always eating it.
Yeah. I mean, the best example I can think of as a former teammate, guys, was Kent Austin. You could tell when we were in practice or in meetings that Kent Austin, in fact, I don't mean to be disrespectful to any of our coaches back then, but I used to say that Kent Austin, I think, is our offensive coordinator. No matter who had that title at the time, I think it was Kent that was running the show.
Sticking with the Riders, the report about Dante Myers signing with Cincinnati, it feels a little bit, if you really dig deep, that this could potentially be a nice bargaining chip for him come free agency and maybe handcuff the Riders a little bit.
Yeah, it could be. If I was Saskatchewan, though, I'd be putting a little bit aside and make sure you got room for that, and make sure you take care of that. And, I think you have Dante with the relationship with Trevor is a real strong point. I mean, the grass isn't always greener. We've seen many guys go, I'm going to get a little extra money and go to this. And then the quarterback situation was completely different. And the receiver has half the yardage because of it. So, Dante understands that. This is a good step for him. And Dante is good enough to play in the NFL for sure. Absolutely. Whether he can or not, or will or not, is a long, long, long shot. Because as you guys know, it's about the cash for free agencies. If there's a investment made in a free agent, not somebody they drafted. The draft is a different thing. They want to protect their scouts and all that, so they're keeping their draft picks for as long as they possibly can. And they pay him some money, obviously. But for a guy like Dante, who I haven't seen a report that he got any signing bonus, and I don't think you do very often, if ever, with these type of future contracts. There's no investment financially made in him. So he may, in, let's say, a training camp, get 2 or 3 reps in a practice. One of those could be a running play in a team drill. And he's, you've got to find a way to make a difference and show what you can do. And that's really hard sometimes for these free agents.
What about a guy out of Calgary, 6'6", Damian Alford? He's looks to be signing with the Saints. What do you think about that suits and his game maybe transitioning to south of the border?
Yeah. I think physically he has what they like to see. I mean, he's got that. You could throw it up on a fade route type of player, and he can win the jump ball more than not. But he's, I would say he hasn't produced as much. So there's more as a Dante produced last year. He hasn't had that type of season here. So, there will be a question mark with regards to that for New Orleans. But physically, yes, that may give him a couple of extra reps. And if you can make those plays, that opens some eyes, you get a chance. But again, it's a long haul. If they look at the draft this year and see how many receivers Cincinnati or New Orleans, how many receivers they draft, and that'll tell you, without even going to a practice, how many reps that those two players are going to get.
That's a good point.
Let's end it. Some sad news. You have.
Yeah, former teammate, former Saskatchewan Rough Rider, Tony Dennis passed away. And Tony and I were really good friends for years, trained together, worked out together, pushed each other. He was an undersized slot back with great hands, great speed. Played for the Riders for a few years. I can't remember exactly how many, but was kind of a rotation receiver. But we got a chance, both going to Simon Fraser University, to work out together and hang out together, and just an outstanding human being. Just like we talked about, trying to teach kids to be great teammates. That's what Tony Dennis was. Great teammate. So many times I didn't want to get off the couch and he pushed me, or he didn't want to get off the couch because we were roommates for a while, and I'd push him like, get your butt up. We're going to the bank. We're going to the gym. Let's go. And he would do it and I would do it, and we'd compete once we got there. And, one of those situations where I'm as sad as I was yesterday. I'm going to try to not be sad because of the time we spent together, and try to think of those times.
All right, Suits. You know what I'm going to do for Thursday? I'm going to look up the rider schedule when you might be in town. When do you usually get your schedule for the year on what games you're doing?
Actually, it'll probably be in the next month or two. Yeah, by mid-February, I'm sure.
Okay. I'm going to look. And if you're in town and I got a flag football game or practice, you're coming by and you're going to talk to the kids.
I love it. Done. I'll fly into town just for that. Forget about a game. Let's do it.
Then I'll take you to Western Pizza too.
Done.
Ooh.
I love it.
Can't turn down that offer.
Yeah. All right, Suits. Talk to you on Thursday, bud.
Thanks, gentlemen.
There it is. Press coverage with Glen Suitor. Let's go to break. We'll come back. Sprinkle of the day. We'll get to more of your text messages. It is the Sports Cage on 620 CKRM. If you missed it, Dante Meyer signing a future contract with the Cincinnati Bengals today. Also in Calgary, Damian Alford signs with the Saints, as well as Jalen Hutchings signing with Minnesota. All those have been reported. Philip Daniels moving from the Saskatchewan defensive line as the coach to the Ottawa Redblacks, as they reported yesterday here on the show. Hockey tonight, SJ1 game, Nipawins and Battleford. Women's Curling Championships of Saskatchewan's ongoing. Draw at 8 p.m. tonight in Melville. The men are on the ice as well in Melville right now. All the updates will be at sportscage.com. National Hockey League regular season. Vancouver's in Buffalo. Toronto's home to Florida. Winnipeg, big game with Vegas coming to town. And Edmonton welcomes Nashville. It's for Regina Steel Craft Doors, made in Western Canada for Western Canada. Got a 40,000 square foot facility in Regina. They can help you with any garage door that you need. All right, Harry, we talked to Arash a little bit ago. I have Hugh. Yeah, we're gonna get into. Let's get into sprinkle of the day, because I want to dissect your thoughts. This is the only chance this week I have to talk to you about some of these bets on Sports Select.
Alrighty.
Los Angeles. I said Los Angeles Rams, Carolina Panthers. Now it's at 11. It changed again.
That's crazy.
What don't we know? So,
yeah.
Like I said, I'm just gonna stick NFC right now. I got a tough time not taking the Carolina Panthers, who just beat Los Angeles 4 weeks ago or whatever at home, to cover 11 points.
Absolutely. I know they're 8-9, but I mean, if you go home and got a home playoff game and you lay an egg to the point where you get blown out by more than 11 points, there is something seriously wrong with your organization. So I feel like just from a saving face, they got to cover that spread.
I'm going to keep our eyeballs on that line, Colson, for the rest of the week here. Because we had 10.5 earlier, about an hour and a half ago. Now we're at 11 at sportsselect.com. Okay, the other game, Harry, I'll ask you about. Are you still a Green Bay fan?
I mean, I'm a Lions fan, but I don't mind the I like the organization.
Yeah.
Yep.
Green Bay, Chicago. I figure that this one's got a pro line tie written all over it, which is a 3-point game. 285 there. What are your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I like the Green Bay for the point spread for sure. I mean, it's 1. The line is 1. I feel it's going to be close. I mean, it's Chicago in January. It's not going to be super warm. It's not going to be super offensive, I don't think. It's going to be a grind-out, nip-and-tuck affair, so I could definitely see the tie. I would agree with that as well. And then Green Bay, obviously, to cover on the spread.
Chicago.
And the under. I would take the under.
The under. Sunday weather in Chicago. Nice day. 0. At night, it'll feel like -2. That coming off that damp cold, though, that feels a lot colder.
Gets in your bones.
It does. Right to the old arthritis. Okay, so what you can do with Sports Select now, if you haven't paid attention in the last little while, you can go in and fill out the little forms like we all have for years, but you can do it all on your phone now or on your PC, and you just generate a QR code. You take it to the Lotto Spot retailer. They scan it. Bingo, bango, you got your ticket. And it's just, you can play standalone games. Like
what a time to be alive.
Exactly. Used to be in Vegas, be like, oh, I get to play this game. And you can do that on Sports Select as long as it has the little S beside it. I've been really taking advantage of the QR code thing and going in. And don't forget to check out futures. If you want a Super Bowl future this year, there's money to be made if you're doing it for entertainment purposes or just for fun on the NFL, because it's almost anybody's game.
Yep.
SportsSelect.com. Must be 18 plus to play. Every bet is 100% legal. Your chance of winning cash in hand. Sports Select. Bet on the original. Okay, we got a couple of minutes here. We're going to replay the Brent Kuemper interview coming up in a bit. Going back to the text line here. Again, Harry, people just, they want to hang their hat on, but we didn't have our full team.
Right. But we never do. Like, I don't understand that. We never do. There's always guys left off. This isn't new. I don't. I got a quick question for you. Do you think, I mean, what's it going to drop? 1-2 spots, maybe? Do you think Gavin McKenna hurt his stock with his tournament?
Yeah, that's another good question that people are jumping and piling on after this.
Yeah.
Where did he finish in scoring? He was still right up there. Second in scoring.
Yeah. But it was a very quiet second. He definitely, I don't feel he stood out. Like, you expect a guy who's going to be a consensus. If you looked at the number 1 picks that have played in that tournament for Canada over the years, I feel like his performance definitely paled in comparison to theirs.
Maybe. What do I know?
There's a strictly an observer's standpoint. I'm not a
the
coach,
other thing
I'm not
is
a scout.
People are talking about he hasn't had a great year at Penn State. Well, they're older guys, which could hurt him maybe a bit as well. Yeah, there were times I found when he got wound up and had the overspeed going, and I was like, oh, wow, and yeah, I expected him, probably more to you, to dominate more.
Yeah.
I think the competition is just so bloody good too. Like, we don't really know who the Czechs were playing against that line. Right. I'm sure some really Hardo and jock sniffer World Junior guys know, but we don't know the matchups.
Even the McKenna thing, him going to Penn State, right? Instead of hardening his edges in the dub, right? Making that money. It's a little less like he's a little more coddled, right? Like he doesn't have to grind it out on the buses. He's playing at Penn State. He's probably the king of campus, and he's making a lot of money. He's making almost an NHL entry-level contract already. Like, like he doesn't have to He doesn't have to come to the World Juniors and dominate. It's already on a platter for him, right? Whereas guys in the past, they're playing junior still and they're fighting for that contract. Like, I don't know. It's just such a different beast. And I feel he is definitely a different consensus number 1 overall draft pick than we've seen in a lot of years, I think.
I was surprised that Keaton Verhoff, they didn't play him earlier in the tournament. And I thought he looked good, and everyone's been watching him in college and how good he is. So, yeah, I still think McKenna will go first.
But that could just be the lack of depth in the draft, right? It's not like the NFL where you're going to, like your Shadur Sanders, where you're going to drop to the 5th round or anything like that, right? Like it's not quite that dire. But I feel like teams, I would be, if I had that number 1 pick, I would be a little bit more leery of like, who am I actually taking here?
Mm-hmm. Really cool conversation from hour 1 of the program with the father of Darcy Kuemper on getting the call from Darcy that he's been selected to Team Canada before anyone else knew. We had that. Harry, thanks so much again. Hopefully next week, find a day
anytime
to work that. And thanks to everyone for tuning in. Thanks to everyone who participated on the Prairieland Rentals text line, all of our guests on the Western Pizza guest hotline. I'll be back tomorrow. Stay tuned. We have the interview with Darcy Kuemper's father coming up after the break.